There's a country singer that was active off and on from the early 1930s to the late 1960s by the name of Elton Britt. He received the first gold record awarded to a country song that surpassed over 1 million copies sold, as well as being a champion first-class yodeler. He recorded over 600 individual songs as well as 60 record albums or so. Made at least 2 movies, as well as an ill-fated bid for president in 1960. Not bad for a feller who wasn't even named until he was a year old. Because he was so sickly, he wasn't expected to survive, and I guess his parents didn't want to waste a name. It's a pretty sad state of affairs. Being considered a nobody until your parents decided it looked like you were going to make it and deserved a name. Just like everybody else. A name is important. It's our identity. It's who we are. It's our responsibility to use it wisely and have it mean something. Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 1 says, "A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches." These 11 words say a mouthful. It backs the idea of the importance of a good name by giving it scriptural authority. Not my opinion or somebody else's. Our name stands for something. So the influence we have or will have on others bears serious consideration. Like it or not, we will never realize everybody we have an effect on throughout our lifetimes. We will exert influence or have the potential to do so many more times than we could ever imagine throughout our lifetimes. So will that effect be a positive, godly direction or a negative, worldly one? We realize actions have consequences, and those actions can and will produce eternal consequences as well. Some names conjure up negative impressions associated with the actions of that person to the point that name becomes synonymous with whatever those evil deeds were. What's the first thing you think of when you hear these Bible names? Ahab, Jezebel, Judas. Their actions were so heinous they pretty much doomed anybody else from naming or wanting to label their kids with that moniker. The same thing can be said by avoiding names associated with modern day or historical figures known for aligning themselves with unspeakable acts. Anybody hearing those names are immediately reminded of their negative actions. No positive images come to mind. Even in the unlikely event there might be one or two, the bad will always overshadow the good. Is that what we want to be known or remembered for whenever they hear our name? I hope not. Solomon puts it this way in Proverbs chapter 10, verse 7. "The memory of the just is blessed, but the name of the wicked shall rot." The wisest man that ever lived just gave us another mouthful to consider. A good name is serious business. So far, this serious business is centered around our given names and living in a positive, productive way, but it needs to go farther than that. There are a lot of people that go around doing good deeds and become well known and honored for those contributions, but that's as far as it goes. And a lot of people do it just for the recognition that they can get and boost their own ego up. The Christian needs to develop a good name, their good name, with the primary purpose of glorifying our Creator, not ourselves. That's the difference we need to strive for, honoring God, not ourselves. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 17 says, "Whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks through him to God the Father." So a name is important. We all need one. But with that name comes an obligation to live in a way that daily honors God so people know what we stand for. This is easy to say, but not always easy to do and follow through with. We need to constantly watch out for obstacles the devil throws in our path to knock us off course. And the more successful we are in warding off his advances, the harder he's going to try to win us over. And unfortunately, it's all too often not that hard to do. And he's an expert at it. He's a pro. There's a way he can knock us off track. Be sure he'll do it. Next time in a few weeks, whenever it is, whether it's through remote video like this or whether it's in person, we'll look at one way he can knock us off track. And once again, unfortunately, it's not that hard to do. And I'll leave you with one more thought from Solomon. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 1. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth.